In this video, we'll be looking at our 7-16 math review. This is week 17. We will be looking at day 3 and day 4 in this video. Alright, the first 4 problems deal with multiplying and dividing mixed numbers. Remember, when multiplying or dividing, if the signs are the same, the result will be positive. If the signs are different, the result will be negative. So in this case, we will have a positive result. In this case, we will have a negative result. Let's look at number 1. We have negative 3 1/2 divided by negative 2 1/3. I'm going to convert negative 3 1/2 to a mixed number, to an improper fraction. 3 times 2 is 6 plus 1 is 7. This is negative 7 over 2. Divided by negative 2 over 3. Well, when we're dividing by a fraction, we multiply by the reciprocal. That is, we change the division to a multiplication, and flip the second fraction. Negative 3 over 2. We change, flip the second fraction. We multiply by the reciprocal. So in this particular problem, I'm going to be now simply multiplying straight across. Negative 7 times negative 3 is a positive 21, and 2 times 2 is a 4. Alright, so we have 21 over 4. We can now reduce this fraction. 4 goes into 21 5 times with 1 left over. So 21 over 4 is equal to 5 1/4. The negative times negative is positive. This is my result, 5 1/4. Lastly, I'm going to check for reasonableness. Well, this is 3 1/2 divided by slightly less than 1. When we divide by a number slightly less than 1, we end up with a greater result. So 5 1/4, it looks like it's a reasonable result. Alright. Looking at number 3. This time it's a multiplication, so we won't need to do the keep, change, flip. We will simply convert these to mixed numbers. 5 times 4 is 20, plus 1 is 21. 21 over 4. Negative, times 1 times 8, 8 plus 5 is 13 over 8. Now multiplying straight across. See if we can do any reducing with any numerator, with any denominator, but we can't, unfortunately. So in our denominator, 4 times 8 is 32. In our numerator, we have 21 times 13. 3 times 1 is 3. 3 times 2 is 6. 1 times 1 is 1. 1 times 2 is 2. 3, 7, 2. 21 times 13 is 273. That will be my numerator. Okay, now we want to see how many times will 32 go into 273. 32 into 273. 32 will not go into 2. 32 will not go into 27, so we're left with 32 into 273. I'm going to try 8 times. 9 times 3 would be 27, so that's probably too much. I'm going to go 8. 8 times 2 is 16. Carry my 1. 8 times 3, 24, and 1 more, 25. Borrow. 13 minus 6, 7. 6 minus 5, 1. We have 17 as our remainder. We express that over our divisor. So 273 over 32 is the same as 8 and 17 32nds. Alright, question. Is this response reasonable? And it should be negative. It's a negative there, because a negative times a positive is a negative. 7 over 32. Well, this is about 5. This is about 1 1/2. 5 times 1 1/2 would be 7 and some. So this is at least a reasonable answer. 8 is in the ballpark. Alright, see if you can now do these two. Keep in mind, we can think of 12 as 12 over 1 and 6 as 6 over 1. Alright. Percent increase. It says, what was the percent increase from December to January? Remember, we define percent increase to be our change over the original. In this particular problem, it says in December they sell 48 Hondas. In January they sell 65. So our original is our first one, 48. The change is a subtract. 65 minus 48, that will be 17. So we want to convert this 17 over 48 into a percent. The first thing I'm going to do is some estimation. Well, 10% of 48 is 4.8. So 17 would be about 3 times, actually closer to 4 times that. So we're looking at something that's in the neighborhood of 40%, between 30 and 40%. We're going to convert this 17 over 48 into a percentage. 17 over 48 equals x over 100. We know percent means per 100. We can do 17 over 48 equals x over 100. Cross multiplying. 17 times 100 is 1700. 48 times x is 48x. We have 48x equals 1700. We will now divide by 48 on both sides. Dividing by 48 here, dividing by 48 here. So x will be whatever 1700 divided by 48 is. I'm going to leave that for you, but I will let you know it's going to be somewhere between 30 and 40%. So your answer should be in that ballpark. All right. Scale factor of the model is 12 to 1. What are the dimensions of the model? Well, it says that our model is 15 by 25. Our model is 15 inches by 25 inches. But our scale factor is 12 to 1. That is, in real life, it's 12 times the amount. So we're simply going to multiply both of these numbers by 12. Times 12 and get some new here. Times 12 and get some new here. We take our sketch, multiplying by our scale factor, and we will find these two new dimensions. 15 times 12, 25 times 12. All right. Now looking at day 4. We have 86 plus 6x is equal to negative 12. I want to solve for x. In order to solve for x, we want to get x by itself. So we must first undo this term that's added here, 86. It's a positive 86, so I'll subtract 86. Whatever we do to one side, we do to the other. 86 subtracts 86 to leave 6x. Negative 12 minus 86. Remember, when the signs are the same, we add them up. This will be a negative 98. 12 negatives and 86 negatives, 98 negatives. Lastly, we want to get the x by itself, so we need to divide by this 6. We will divide 98 by 6, and that will be, coming up here to my scratch paper, 6 into 98. 6 into 9 one time. 1 times 6 is 6. Subtracting is 3. Bring down my 8. 6 into 38 6 times. 6 times 6 is 36. Subtracting is 2. This is my remainder. It's 16 and 2/6. So x in this case, x equals 16 and 2 over 6, which reduces to 1/3. And this was a negative divided positive, so my result is a negative. Alright, with that information, see if you can solve this second one. And let's omit this problem here. Okay. Converting fractions to decimals percents. As you can see, we do this table many times because it's such an important concept. We need to be able to understand the relationship between them. And a very important part of this relationship is this. Percent means per 100. Okay, so when we have 30%, we can easily write that as a fraction by writing it as 30 per 100. The divide is, we can read the divide bar in a fraction as per. Well, we can divide 10 into 30 and get 3, and 10 to 100 and get 10. Essentially, we cast out these zeros. So 30 over 100 is equal to 3 over 10. That is 30%. Well, to make a percent into a decimal, we simply move the decimal 2 places to the left. So 30% is equal to 0.30, but we don't need any extra zero here. 30% is 0.3. Likewise, 72% will be 0.72. And going in this direction, 0.9, move it 2 places this way. So 0.9 is 90%. All right, with that, see if you can answer some of the rest of these.